When your self-esteem is low and you have an internal voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, okay, you carry that around with you as a fear. Hello, and welcome to Therapy Notes 30. I'm your host, Dr. Elaine Malik. This is where practical psychology meets everyday living. This is a site where I talk about concepts, issues, topics that we hear in therapy. This is not meant to treat or diagnose anything, but is for educational purposes only. So come along and listen to some of the everyday things that we talk about in therapy. Self-esteem and self-centeredness. Doesn't sound like it goes together, does it? Don't we often think of people who are self-centered as arrogant, wanting to be the center of attention, making it all about them. So when we say, well, a person who struggles with self-esteem, wouldn't they be not apt to want to be the center of attention? And that's true. I agree with you completely when you think, gee, that seems almost like you're being critical of somebody who wants to, be important. And I'm not saying that. Let me explain, let me unpackage that, because again, when you're working with somebody with self-esteem issues and you're trying to help them understand how low self-esteem can have a negative impact on how other people react to them, you have to be able to kind of get them to walk around and look at what happens when a person's self-esteem impacts an interchange with another person. So when a person with low self-esteem, and again, a person with low self-esteem tends to have a very negative or low opinion of themselves. They tend to have an imbalance in the view of their strengths and weaknesses. They tend to focus more heavily on the things that they don't feel they do well. They might minimize or dismiss the things that they do well, and they inflate the things that they think are imperfections. They have real sensitivity to making mistakes, which will be a complete separate video, because that's kind of an important part of this. So they tend to have problems with relationships. And in part, it's because of how they view themselves. I have often said to people that I've worked with who have low self-esteem, who struggle with relationships, who talk about bosses or neighbors or friends or individuals who treat them kind of in a rough way, and they don't know how to shrug it off. They don't know how to make it not about them. And I try to remind them the way people treat us has to do with two things: how they feel about you and how they feel about themselves. And just because you struggle with self-esteem, don't believe that there aren't other people who struggle with self-esteem. And they may do it differently than you. They may react differently than you. But they may also not feel particularly good about themselves. And that will affect the way they treat you. So let's get back to the self-centeredness piece, because I think it does relate to this kind of how people perceive you. When your self-esteem is low and you have an internal voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, okay, you carry that around with you as a fear. I'm afraid I'm not good enough. I'm afraid other people will think I'm not good enough. I'm afraid other people will judge me as not good enough. And so this drumbeat in the back of your head that I'm not good enough, and will people treat me that way? Will they figure it out that I'm not good enough? Okay. What that means is that when you listen to another, if you're the one with the self-esteem issue, if when you listen to people talk with you or act or react to you, you are filtering it through the view of the self. It is a self-centered view. Everything is filtered through, what does it mean about me? What does it mean about me? So if somebody came home after being at work all day and their partner said, how'd it go? And they say, well, I got a promotion today. Their partner may say, fabulous, great, oh wow, that's awesome. The internal voice for the person with low self-esteem might go, yeah, but maybe he gave it to me because he felt sorry for me. You see, it's what does this mean about me? With low self-esteem, it's almost always a fear of not being good enough. So if a person with low self-esteem can find a way to make it match up with what they think of themselves, I'm not good enough, they will twist even positive things into maybe it proves I'm not good enough. So that's why we talk about it being self-centered view of the world. So if you say that you were struggling with self-esteem and you were at the local hardware store and you saw somebody you knew and you were pretty sure they saw you. I mean, you weren't 100% sure, but you say, oh, they're looking in my direction. I thought I caught their eye. And they turned and went down another aisle. A person with self-esteem issues, being self-centered, would view it as the only reason the person didn't speak to me is they don't want to talk to me because I'm not good enough. Okay? It's a self-centered perception of other behavior, other actions, other things. It's about I am the center of their behavior, the reasons for their behavior. Could it be they don't want to talk to you? Could be. But it still could be that, again, I'm wanting to kind of demonstrate how there could be multiple reasons, and they aren't all about the person who struggles with self-esteem. They could be benign issues, totally benign. The person could be thinking about a conversation that they just had with their spouse on the phone. And even though they appear to be looking in your direction, they don't really see you because they're in their head thinking about the conversation that they had. But let's just for discussion purposes, let's say they do see you and they don't want to talk to you. Is this proof? Is this proof that the perception that you are the cause of that, you not being good enough is the cause of them not wanting to talk to you? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I have worked with many people who are extremely introverted, and they have said to me that they feel terrible when they're out and about and they see somebody they kind of know. And you know what they say to me? I avoid them like a plague. Why? I don't know what to say. What if they ask me what I'm doing there? What if I stumble over my words? What if I say something stupid? They themselves look at it from a position of they're going to judge me. They may find me wanting. They may find me to be inadequate. Again, understanding that self-esteem issues are common, and not every introvert has shyness and has issues with self-esteem. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that their behavior, the way that they would handle a situation like that, as opposed to an extrovert who's insecure, because extroverts can be insecure too, but an introvert that's insecure who has issues with being good enough would tend to avoid conversation with somebody they are afraid they will be judged by. So even if the person describing the situation, indeed the other person saw them, indeed the other person turned away, does not necessarily prove or disprove the worth of that individual. And that is the problem. Self-centeredness tends to take situations with others and use the lens, use the filter of what does it mean about me? And unfortunately, almost any situation can be twisted around and looked at with squinty eyes and made out to be, it proves that I'm not good enough. And that's why it's such a hard thing to overcome. Not that it's impossible, not that people can't. Self-esteem can be improved. That's the good news. And becoming more relaxed, it helps with your mood. You don't have such highs and lows in terms of, somebody said something and I took it in and I felt good about myself until I started thinking about, well, maybe they said it because they felt sorry for me, and then your mood falls down again. So it's this up and down roller coaster ride that you take when your mood is linked to self-esteem issues. You get along better with people, you like yourself better, you tend to deal with stress better. So self-esteem is a really big deal, and working on it is always worth it. You become just overall a happier person. So self-esteem and self-centeredness sounds like it doesn't go together, but when you break it down, it does. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you found this informative. If you have some topics you'd like me to discuss, please put them in the comments below. Until next time, I'm your host, Dr. Elaine Malik.